In the bustling heart of the city's animal shelter, a newly arrived dog, Baxter, cowers in the corner of his enclosure, refusing to interact. The shelter staff, accustomed to nervous animals, initially write off his behavior as typical adjustment anxiety. Yet, as days pass, Baxter's fear only intensifies, prompting a closer examination of his peculiar behavior. It wasn't until a concerned volunteer noticed something alarming that the staff screamed for help. Millie had never seen anything like this before in her short time as a volunteer at the shelter. She had been working with the increasingly anxious Baxter for a couple of days now, and had been very confused as to what could be the reason for his behavior. It was not normal, and she was sure there had to be a reason for it. And maybe now she finally found it. Millie started screaming for help. She needed the staff of the shelter here as soon as possible to help her with Baxter. The animal himself barely reacted to Millie's loudness. It was clever that nothing around him affected the dog, as was also the case for the past couple of days. Baxter was, and remained, in his own world by the looks of things. Millie slowly approached the dog to get a better look at him. She could swear that she had seen it on his belly. But now that Baxter had curled up even more in the corner of his cage, it was almost impossible to get a good look at him. She even carefully tried to move him a little bit. It was clear that the dog did not like this, as he started to grow and even attempted to bite Millie. Millie could not do this alone, so she called for the staff of the shelter once again. And finally, a couple of employees started to answer her calls. They were confused as to what was going on, but Millie quickly explained herself. She told them that she had spotted something strange on Baxter and needed to check his belly again. But he was not willing to let her look. Baxter had been anxious for his entire time here, but he had not been aggressive. So the fact that he growled and tried to bite Millie caught the staff off guard. They needed to handle this dog with care, and so two of them went to put on the appropriate gear. The employee that was left tried with Millie to get a look at his stomach, and she could see that there was something there. But she could also not see what exactly. The two employees came back suited up, and they all went into the cage together. It was clear that their presence was only making Baxter more anxious, but they simply did not have another choice. They carefully grabbed the dog, and he immediately started to struggle and tried to bite them. But wearing their protective suits, Baxter could bite all he wanted without success. They managed to put the animal on his back, exposing his belly to Millie and the other employee, Carol. And now they could immediately see what Millie had been talking about. They had not seen it before, but a part of Baxter's belly had been shaven. It was right between his front legs, so fairly difficult to spot if you weren't looking for it. But that spot was also much more than just shaven. There was something written on it by the looks of things. They could not easily determine if this was a permanent marker or if it was actually tattooed on. It was still somewhat legible after a couple of days at least, so it had to be something strong. They could see a selection of numbers, but they had no idea what it meant. At least, not yet. On Baxter's belly, there was the number 17 written with an X after it. The three employees had no idea what this referred to and also did not know how this could relate to Baxter's behavior. They speculated that this had to be done by a previous owner, but they had no idea who that was. Baxter had been found on the street before being brought here. He was not even chipped. They could have just left this for what it was. Dog and other animals had come into the shelter with much worse than a shaven stomach and a number on them. The employees of the shelter already had enough on their plate and did not have time to figure out what had happened to Baxter. But Millie was determined to find out the truth. And if they shelter was not going to help her, then she would do it alone. Millie's determination led her to craft a detailed message, which she dispatched to all shelter staff. She meticulously described the peculiar markings on Baxter, urging her colleagues to share any similar observations. Her email inbox became a beacon of hope as she awaited responses that might shed light on the mysterious situation. Receiving little feedback from her initial plea, Millie turned her gaze outward, reaching beyond the confines of her immediate network. She posted queries on animal welfare forums and contacted nearby shelters, describing Baxter's unique markings in detail, hoping to unearth any shred of relevant information or similar cases. As responses began to trickle in, Millie meticulously compiled each piece of information. She identified a disturbing trend of dogs found with similar numerical markings across the state. Her living room transformed into a makeshift investigation hub, with notes and maps outlining the spread of this mysterious pattern over the years. Realizing the power of collective insight, Millie organized a virtual meeting via Zoom. She invited everyone who had responded to her posts and emails, setting the stage for a collaborative session. Together, they shared experiences and information, weaving a network of concerned citizens united by the desire to unravel the mystery of the numbered dogs. The Zoom meeting illuminated the methodical nature of the issue as participants realized the sequential order of the numbers marked on the dogs. This collective discovery underlined the urgency of their mission, propelling Millie and her newfound allies to pledge ongoing communication and cooperation in their quest for answers. Millie initiated the meticulous process of building a centralized database. She started inputting data about each marked dog, organizing it by number, location found, and any available history. This digital compendium quickly became a crucial tool for the group, fostering a sense of unity and purpose in their quest. Together, the group began to map out the chronological discovery of each dog, from the earliest found with a mark to the latest. This timeline served not just as a record, but as a visual representation of the scope and duration of the issue, highlighting the urgency of their mission. As the investigation progressed, the team made a pact to maintain open lines of communication. They shared discoveries and updates through regular emails and virtual meetings, reinforcing their collaborative bond. This commitment ensured that every piece of information was promptly shared and considered. The determination to uncover the truth about the numbered markings drove the group forward. They pooled their resources, dividing tasks among themselves to cover more ground. This shared purpose guided their actions, with each member contributing their unique skills to the collective effort. Inspired by Millie's relentless pursuit, the group's resolve only grew stronger. They encountered challenges and dead ends, but the collective will to find answers pushed them to delve deeper. Their shared determination became a beacon of hope, fueling their continued search for the truth behind the mysterious markings. Millie, armed with her collected evidence, approached the local police department. She laid out the information she had gathered about the numbered dogs, hoping to spark an official investigation. With each document she presented, she hoped for understanding and action from the authorities. The police listened, but their skepticism was palpable. They questioned the significance of her findings, suggesting that without direct evidence of wrongdoing, their hands were tied. Millie, though disheartened by their lack of immediate concern, refused to let this setback quench her resolve. Determined more than ever, Millie decided to press on with her investigation independently. She began planning her next steps, realizing that if the authorities wouldn't act, she would take matters into her own hands. Her determination only grew as she prepared to dive even deeper into the mystery. Millie dedicated herself to researching cases of deceased dogs with similar markings. She scoured databases, contacted veterinarians, and reached out to other shelters for autopsy reports or any records of similar cases. Each discovery fueled her commitment to uncovering the truth. Despite the police's skepticism, Millie's commitment to the dog's welfare never wavered. She knew that behind each number was a story that deserved to be told, and she was determined to be the one to tell it. Her persistence in the face of dismissal became a testament to her dedication. Millie discovered a pattern. The lower-numbered dogs were all linked to the same city. This breakthrough offered a new direction for her investigation. She began to dig deeper into records from this specific area, hoping to find more leads that would bring her closer to understanding the mystery behind the markings. Realizing the concentration of cases in one city sparked a theory in Millie's mind. She speculated that the perpetrator might be operating from this area. With a new hypothesis in hand, Millie's determination to solve the case intensified. She started to gather all available data on the marked dogs found in that city, looking for any connection or pattern. Millie spread out maps across her living room floor, marking the locations where each numbered dog had been found. This visual aid helped her to see potential patterns and connections between the cases. It became clear that the distribution of dogs pointed towards a specific area, guiding Millie closer to the possible base of operations for the perpetrator. Her living space transformed into a command center for the investigation. Notes, maps, and photos covered the walls, each piece of information a crucial part of the puzzle. Millie's home, once a place of relaxation, now served as the heart of her relentless quest for answers, showing her deep commitment to solving the mystery. With the spotlight now on a specific city, Millie's search became more focused. She started to compile a list of potential areas within the city that could serve as the perpetrator's base. Her investigation began to take on a new level of specificity, narrowing down the vast array of possibilities to a more manageable scope of inquiry. Millie arrived at the local animal shelter, her curiosity piqued by the potential connection to the numbered dogs. She introduced herself to the shelter staff and explained the purpose of her visit, laying the groundwork for a new phase in her investigation. Her questions were specific, aimed at uncovering any knowledge the shelter might have about the mysterious markings. The conversations with the shelter staff were eye-opening. They shared their observations and suspicions about possible illegal breeding activities in the area. This information provided Millie with new leads to pursue, as it pointed towards a hidden network of operations possibly connected to the numbered dogs. The staff's reaction to Millie's inquiries highlighted the community's awareness and concern about the situation. Their willingness to talk and share their suspicions indicated a collective unease about what might be happening to the animals in their city, underscoring the need for action. The absence of any registered breeders in the area, despite the anecdotal evidence of breeding activities, suggested to Millie that these operations were being conducted clandestinely. This revelation added another layer of complexity to her investigation, hinting at the depth of the illegal activities she was beginning to uncover. Millie's visit to the shelter sparked a broader conversation among the staff and even some visitors who overheard. Word of her investigation began to spread, raising awareness about the mystery of the numbered dogs and mobilizing a community increasingly concerned about the welfare of these animals. Millie ventured into the outskirts of the city, her determination guiding her every step. This area, less familiar and more secluded, held the potential for hidden truths about the numbered dogs. Millie moved cautiously, aware that the answers she sought could be nestled within these less traveled paths. With every step, Millie's eyes scanned her surroundings, looking for any sign or clue. She noted the conditions of the areas where dogs might be kept, paying close attention to fenced properties and secluded yards. Her keen observation skills were crucial in piecing together the puzzle of the mysterious markings. The barking and howling of dogs cut through the silence, adding an eerie layer to Millie's search. These sounds, echoing in the distance, heightened the atmosphere of tension and urgency, pushing her to continue her search even as the day faded into evening. Millie's solitary journey into the unknown territories underscored her unwavering commitment to the cause. This lone quest, though fraught with challenges, showcased her readiness to delve into the shadows for the sake of the dogs. Her determination was as clear as the path she trod. Millie meticulously examined every nook and cranny, her eyes searching for signs that could lead her to the numbered dogs. She looked for fresh tracks, disturbed ground, or anything out of the ordinary that might indicate the presence of the dogs she sought to save. Millie spotted a dog with a previously unseen number through the fence of a secluded property, marking a pivotal moment in her investigation. This discovery, far from the city's centre, suggested she was on the right path, edging closer to unraveling the mystery behind the numbered dogs. Seeing another dog on the same property displaying clear signs of distress reinforced Millie's suspicions that she had found a crucial lead. This visual confirmation pushed her to consider her next moves carefully, understanding the significance of her find and the potential implications for her investigation. The discovery evoked a whirlwind of emotions in Millie, blending excitement with a deep sense of responsibility. As she stood there, observing the dogs, she felt a renewed determination to pursue justice for them, despite the challenges and risks involved in pushing further into her investigation. Millie became acutely aware of the dangers that lay ahead in confronting the individuals responsible for the dog's condition. This realization prompted a cautious approach as she understood that proceeding alone could be risky. She started to weigh her options, considering the best way to move forward without compromising her safety or the investigation. Recognizing the complexity of the situation, Millie began strategizing her next steps with utmost care. She knew that to effectively address what she had discovered, meticulous planning and possibly enlisting help were essential. The stakes were high, and the path forward required thoughtful consideration to ensure success and safety for both herself and the animals involved. With Millie leading the way, the police arrived at the suspect property, marking a crucial turning point in her journey. Their presence signified the seriousness of the investigation, and as they prepared to enter the property, Millie felt a mix of anticipation and resolve. This was the moment she had been working towards, the beginning of what she hoped would be the resolution of the case. Before making their move, the officers and Millie took a moment to strategize. They reviewed the layout of the property, discussing entry points and how to proceed once inside. This preparation was critical, ensuring that everyone understood their role in the operation. The anticipation of what they might find inside loomed large, highlighting the operation's significance and the potential impact of their discoveries. With a clear plan in place, the team breached the property. The moment the gate was forced open marked a transition from investigation to direct action. This decisive move signaled a major development in the case as they stepped into the unknown, ready to confront whatever and whoever lay inside. As they entered the property, the team was on the cusp of uncovering the evidence they needed to unravel the case. This entry into the suspect property represented the beginning of the resolution phase, where the pieces of the puzzle Millie had been assembling would start to fall into place. The search for truth had led them here, and now the process of revealing it had begun. As the team entered the property, a tense silence enveloped them, only to be shattered by the chaos of discovery. Inside, the scene transformed rapidly as officers moved through, uncovering evidence of the operation. This stark contrast between the quiet before and the subsequent activity underscored the intensity of their mission and the significance of what they were about to uncover. Among the first discoveries were the marked dogs, each bearing the mysterious numbers that had initiated Millie's quest. Alongside them, dog training materials were found, providing concrete evidence that validated Millie's efforts and suspicions. This moment of validation was significant, marking a tangible result of the collaborative effort to bring the operation to light. As the search continued, the team uncovered more dogs and a variety of training equipment, revealing the scale of the illegal activities. This discovery offered a clearer picture of the operation's extent, showing not just the involvement of the dogs, but also the preparation and planning that had gone into their training and handling. The findings from the property served as a testament to the collective efforts of Millie and her community. Their dedication and perseverance were validated by the tangible evidence uncovered, highlighting the crucial role that community engagement and vigilance played in bringing the operation to light. Once confronted by the police and faced with the undeniable evidence collected from his property, the man quickly confessed to his actions. His immediate admission highlighted the operation's success, demonstrating the pressure exerted by the legal and investigative efforts led by Millie and the authorities. During his confession, the man attempted to justify his actions by claiming he aimed to rehabilitate aggressive dogs using a unique training system, which included marking them with numbers for tracking progress. This explanation shed light on the flawed logic and misunderstanding of animal welfare that underpinned his entire operation. He further explained that releasing the dogs across various locations in the state was a strategy to evade detection. This rationale revealed a misguided attempt to blend his rehabilitation efforts with a desire to avoid legal repercussions, underscoring the complexity of his motivations. The confession elicited a complex emotional response from those involved in the case. While there was relief in gaining clarity and securing a confession, there was also dismay at the man's misguided belief that his actions were in the best interest of the dogs, highlighting a profound disconnect with recognized animal welfare practices. The man's admission provided crucial insights into his actions, revealing a deep-seated misunderstanding of proper animal care and rehabilitation. His misguided efforts, though rooted in an intention to help, demonstrated a lack of knowledge and awareness about ethical and effective animal treatment and welfare. Following the man's confession, charges were promptly initiated against him for violations of animal welfare laws and unauthorized breeding practices. This action marked the commencement of legal accountability, setting a precedent for the treatment of animals and the enforcement of related laws within the community. Efforts to rehabilitate and find new homes for the rescued dogs began immediately. Veterinarians, volunteers, and animal welfare organizations collaborated closely, dedicating their time and resources to ensure the well-being and recovery of each dog. This initiative represented a beacon of hope, signaling the start of a healing process for the animals affected by the ordeal. Millie's unwavering commitment and proactive stance in leading the intervention brought to light the powerful impact one individual can have on animal welfare and community awareness. Her actions inspired others in the community to engage more actively with animal welfare issues, fostering a culture of responsibility and compassion towards animals. As the legal and rehabilitation processes unfolded, a broader healing process began within the community. The shared experience of addressing the case brought individuals together, creating a sense of solidarity and collective purpose. This shift towards healing and understanding underscored the resilience of the community and its capacity to overcome challenges through cooperation. The story concludes on a note of optimism, with the potential for redemption and positive change made possible through the compassion and action of those involved. The efforts to address the wrongs and provide care for the affected dogs reflected a communal desire for improvement and progress, leaving a lasting impact on the community's approach to animal welfare.